Happy Tuesday, everybody. Alyssa Orange, Tara Talmadge here, getting you ready for the rest of the day. And, of course, we got a lot on tap. Tara, we've got football, we've got basketball, and we also have soccer. But let's talk with football. Yesterday, you guys talked quarterbacks. Yeah. Let's go to the other side of the ball. Let's talk the defense, because that was another big area of concern against Mississippi State, where they allowed 640 yards of defense. You look at what John Chavis said on Monday in his press conference, talking about, well, let's be honest, when we got here, it was broken and we haven't fixed it fast enough. Do you buy that, Tim?
I mean, that could honestly be said about pretty much every part of that team, but that doesn't mean that you can't make improvements. And I think, if anything, it's actually regressed as the year has gone on. They are 14th in rushing defense right now, last in scoring defense. What really just tears at your heartstrings a little bit is when you hear these players talk about it. Scooter Harris, after that game against Mississippi State, was just straight up like, we haven't tackled good at all this season. And you can just kind of hear the frustration in his voice. And I'm sure it's the same for all of those guys. It's hard for them.
You know, one thing that Chavis said before the season even started was that he wants to rotate guys. He doesn't want guys playing as many snaps as there are, but yet what we've seen this year is the exact opposite of that. We've seen a lot of guys playing entire games, and Scooter Harris is one of those guys. And you've got these young guys that they're kind of afraid to play, but that's how you build depth, right? You got to play them to build depth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's also, we talk about these young guys not really getting reps. Meanwhile, Bumper Pool was thrown right into the action last year, and look how much it helped him. So it's not to say that that's true for every single guy on this team, but you've seen it work before. You can do it with other guys and get them reps and just, get them the action that they need.
It is odd when you have that on one side of the ball. Then the offensive side of the ball, you look at it and you can point to guys like your two freshmen, Trey Knox, Traylon Burks, which honestly deserve the playing time that they're getting, but a Ricky Stromberg that they had to throw out there. Yeah. So with some guys they do, and with some guys it don't, and it makes you want to kind of scratch your head. You're looking at the comparison in the game notes between Western Kentucky and Arkansas, and the biggest thing that sticks out to me is this opposition's third down conversion percentage. Western Kentucky allows their opponents to convert on third down only 29.3% of the time. Arkansas, 45.3% of the time. So almost 50% of the time, this Arkansas defense is allowing their opponents to convert on third down.
And I mean, you have to take into account who those opponents are to some degree, but at the same time, that is a huge difference. And you wouldn't have expected it under a John Chavis defense. Mm-hmm. He came in, and I think a lot of people were really excited, not only just to see what he could create, but a lot of players were excited to play for him. So this is not at all what anyone expected.
Yeah, really interesting where this defense has fallen. And you can't really look at talent. Yeah, you can look at speed a little bit. But they've got seniors on this team. Sosa Agim, Scooter Harris, the guy we've already talked about, Jamario Bell, Gabe Richardson. They've got a lot of seniors. Cam Curl, even though he's a junior, that could lead this team by example. And for some reason, they leave us scratching our heads a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, it's that frustration. I know the fans have it, the media has it, the coaches have it, and the players are definitely frustrated about it. But McTelvin Agim has just been a class act throughout all of this. All of the press conferences that he's been in, he's never thrown anyone under the bus. He's never gotten upset. Big props to him. He's really held it together.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about that frustration and get rid of it, because basketball season begins tonight, and I know a lot of people very excited about what basketball brings to the table in this new Eric Musselman era. Tara, are you excited to get this thing going?
I'm a big fan of Eric Musselman right now. He mentioned that the honeymoon phase is over right now once tip-off begins, but as of right now, big fan of Eric Musselman. He's willing to bring back Sharkansas, which was one of my favorite parts of basketball games last year. Good time. Oh, we got some questions here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like this. As we get to these questions, Eric Musselman has just brought this fun attitude, swagger. What I love about him is he's so into the analytics, and I'm ready to see how that translates on the basketball court, because I don't know another coach that's about as detailed and as specific to analytics and how things work and how one thing impacts another thing, and the chain reaction that it causes more than Eric Musselman is. So I'm excited to see what all of that turns into. Isaiah Joe kind of laughed at SEC Media Day for basketball, and he said, man, Coach Muss don't miss anything. And he's right. So really excited to see how that translates. What are some basketball questions, if we have any on here?
Let's
see. A lot
see.
of football stuff we've got.
Nah, it's just a lot of football stuff, to be honest, which is understandable at
we
this
get
point
it.
in time.
We get it.
But we still got, I think we should stick with basketball because
it
is a lot of excitement right now. Like you said, new staff. Eric Musselman's bringing a lot of excitement to the program. I'm interested to see how they've made some adjustments or improvements since those exhibition games. They played well. Mason Jones made a big jump from exhibition game 1 to 2. And then they also did well in turnovers, and they also did better in fouling. They didn't foul out.
Sure.
None of them did in the second game. 3 of them fouled out in the first game. So they made improvements. They made adjustments, and I'm curious to see how that translates into their season once it begins.
Yeah, we know these guys can shoot. We know that Isaiah Joe can drop the 3 ball, as can Mason Jones and Jalen 3 when he's having a good day. But what I really am excited about is to see Reggie Chaney and maybe some Ethan Henderson in there as well in that post position. Because I think if you were to look at anything, and Eric Musselman will say defensive rebounding, really looking at that post position, that's going to be their biggest question mark early on in this season. Is Reggie Chaney is a big guy, biggest on the team, but he's not that big compared to all the big men they're going to see in the SEC and in the rest of their schedule. How can they be successful down there in the post? That's going to help them make their perimeter offense better.
Right, because as of right now, we still don't know about Connor Vanover. That's still up in the air. And so Reggie Chaney is your biggest guy, and that's some big shoes to fill with Daniel Gafford being gone. So obviously you can't set those same expectations for him, but they will need him very much so down low.
Well, if you're Reggie Chaney, I think what you lean on is how successful they were in the NIT tournament without Daniel Gafford. Not saying they would have loved to have Daniel Gafford, but of course, if you're going to be without him, at least they showed some definite promise leading into this season. So really excited about basketball. They kick off against Rice tonight at 7 p.m. at Bud Walton Arena. That one not on TV, guys, so if you want to watch it, you're going to have to watch it on the SEC Network Plus. Also on the SEC Network Plus, because we got a lot to talk about today. Because soccer, and we got to get a love to the women's soccer team, SEC champions, the #1 seed in the SEC tournament, and they start their tournament action today against Ole Miss.
Not too shabby. No. They've done pretty well this season. I think their record is 14-2-2. Top seed, like you mentioned, for the SEC tournament. They beat Ole Miss during the season, so hopefully they can get another one and progress. But this group has just... It's incredible what they've been able to accomplish. Colby Hale, Coach of the Year for the SEC as well. So really excited for them and what they could possibly do.
What do you think it means just for the athletic department on campus to have the women's soccer team doing so well? Obviously, women's cross country also doing really well right now too. But to see them, we've been able to cover them closely, but unfortunately a little bit more from afar with football season going on. But to see their success, what do you think that means for this athletic department?
Oh, I mean, it's huge, especially when you have so many of, well, not so many, when you have so many fans upset about what's going on the football field right now. You could possibly have a really good basketball team, and then you have these women's sports that are just doing really well right now. Cross country is doing exceptionally well. You have soccer doing really well. So it gives fans something to be excited about, which they need right now.
They've been able to pack Razorback Stadium down there, Razorback Field or pitch or whatever they call it, that soccer field down there a couple of times this season because the women are doing so well. So we wish them luck. Again, they play Ole Miss at 5 o'clock. That game also on the SEC Network Plus. So, you know, you can watch a little soccer and then just stick on with the SEC Network, watch a little bit of basketball. So, pretty good day. We have women's basketball later on this week, and it is senior day on the Hill. Arkansas looking for a big win over Western Kentucky. For Tara Talmadge, I'm Alyssa Orange. That's going to do it for your update today on this Tuesday. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching this Pig Trail Nation report.
Sweet. Football.